Let me
think she's not
start with the
interested?
most surprising
She
thing
doesn't
I've
flirt
learned in
hard?
over
She
20
doesn't chase?
years of
She keeps
working
it
as a
calm?
relationship
So,
psychologist.
you
Most men
assume there's
think they
nothing
know
there, but
exactly
there's
what
one
women
subtle
want, and
behavior
most
most
men are
men
wrong.
completely
Not because
ignore.
they're bad
And if you
partners,
catch
not
it,
because they
you'll
don't
realize she's
care,
been
but
thinking
because
about you
nobody ever
far more
sat them
than she
down and
ever lets
explained it
on. You
clearly.
think she
There's
doesn't
no
like you?
manual for
Listen, you
this.
think
No
she's
one
not
taught
interested?
you. And
You're reading the
honestly, most
signals
women don't
all
even say
wrong.
it
You
out
think
loud,
that
even when
distance
they
means
feel it
disinterest.
deeply. I'm
You think
Jill's Guerin,
silence
and
means
I've
she's
spent
moved
more than
on.
2 decades
But what
working
if
with
I told you
couples
she's
right
been
here in
thinking about you
Canada,
more
from
than you
Vancouver to
realize? And
Halifax,
here's the
from
part
young
that's going to
newlyweds
sound
to people
crazy.
in their
The
60s and
colder she
70s
acts, the
who've
more
been together
obsessed she
for
might
40
actually be.
years and still
Stay
feel
with
like
me because this
strangers in
gets
the same
wild. Most
bed.
men
I've
miss
sat
these signs
across from
completely.
thousands of
They
men
give
who
up right when she's
genuinely
starting
wanted
to
to do
obsess.
better,
They walk away right
better,
when her
but
brain is
simply didn't
working
know how to
overtime
reach their
trying to figure
partner
them out.
anymore.
But there's
Today,
the
I'm
one
going to
sign men
change that for
overlook.
you. In the
One
next few
specific
minutes,
sign
I'm
that
going to show
reveals
you
everything.
7
And when I
specific
tell you what it
places on a
is, you're
woman's
going to
body,
replay
places
every
that go far
interaction you've
beyond the
had with her.
physical, places that,
Why
when
women hide
touched and
strong
respect,
attraction.
unlock something
You're going to see
emotional,
patterns
something
you
deep.
completely
And I'm going to
missed.
tell you right
I'm going to
now,
show you the
most of you
hidden
will be
signals that
surprised
reveal she's
because none
thinking
of
about
these
you
7 places
constantly.
are what
Even
you're
when she
probably
acts like she doesn't
thinking. Here's
care,
the thing I
even when
want
she
you to
seems cold or
understand before we
distant,
get into
even
it.
when every
The female
surface level
brain
sign says
doesn't
she's not
separate
interested.
physical touch from
And
the
here's what
emotional
nobody tells
meaning.
you. There's a
For a woman,
psychological
especially a
phenomenon that
woman in her
happens in a
40s,
woman's
50s,
brain
or
when she's
60s,
attracted to
touch
someone
is
but trying to
never
hide it.
just
And once you
touch.
understand
Every
this,
time you reach
you'll
out
never
and make
misread her signals
contact, her
again. But
nervous
first, we
system
need to
is
talk
asking a
about the biggest
question.
why women
Is this
hide their
safe?
thoughts.
Does he
The
see me?
mistake you're
Does he
probably making
care?
right now, the
If the
painful
answer is
confusion,
yes,
why
her
everything you
whole
think you
body
know is backwards.
relaxes.
Picture
She
this.
opens up.
She takes
She
hours to
moves
text
toward you.
back.
If
When
the
you run
answer is
into her, she
no,
seems
or even
casual,
just I'm not
almost too
sure, she
casual. She
pulls
doesn't
back.
initiate
Not because she
conversations
doesn't
anymore.
love you,
And when
but
you're
because her
together, she
body
acts
is
like you're
doing
just
what it was
another person
designed
in
to
her
do,
day. You start
protect her
questioning everything.
emotional
Maybe I
self
read this wrong.
first.
Maybe she was
I've
never
heard this from
interested.
women
Maybe I
over
should
and
just
over
move on.
again. Clears
But
throat.
here's
One of
what's
my
actually
clients, I'll call her
happening. And this
Patricia,
is going to
58 years
flip
old, been
everything
married
you
for
thought you
31
knew.
years. She
When a
told me
woman is
something I'll
deeply
never
attracted
forget.
to you,
She
her brain
said,
enters a
Claire, I
state
don't need him
psychologists
to be
called
perfect.
defensive.
I just need him
Avoidance
to
sounds
slow down
fake,
long
right?
enough to
But
actually
stay
feel
hot and
me,
cold
not
behavior
just touch
explained
me,
with me.
feel me.
Here's what
That
you need to
sentence right
understand.
there. That's
Women
the whole
don't show
lesson.
interest the way
So
men do.
let's get
When a
into it.
man is
7
interested, he
places,
pursues.
7
He makes it
opportunities to
obvious.
completely
He
change the
closes
way your
distance,
partner
the
responds to
counterintuitive
you. Let's
psychology of
go. The
desire.
first place
But
is
when
the
a
back of
woman
the
is
neck,
deeply
right
attracted
at the
and
base
thinking
of the
about you
hairline
nonstop,
where it
she often does the
begins. This
opposite.
spot is
She
one of the
creates
most
distance. She
underappreciated
tests
areas
you.
on a
She
woman's
watches how
body.
you
Most
respond to
men
her
walk
pulling
right
back.
past it, but
Why?
this is where
Because
tension
attraction for
lives.
women
This is where
comes with
stress
fear.
settles
Fear of
after a long
rejection,
day of
fear of
carrying
seeming
the
too
weight of
eager,
everything:
fear of
work,
losing power in
family,
the
worry,
dynamic.
all of
So
it.
her
When a
brain does
woman is
something
stressed or
counterintuitive.
disconnected,
It
that
tells her to
tension
pull back to
pulls
protect
right here.
herself.
Now, here's
And
what I
here's
want
the
you to
part
do.
that's going to
Not
make you
aggressively,
rethink
not as a
every cold
massage that
response you've
says,
gotten.
let me
The
fix
more
you.
she's thinking
Just the
about you,
lightest
the
touch.
more she
2 or
might
3
act like she's
fingertips,
not.
slow,
Because
no
how?
pressure. Just warmth
Overthinking
and
equals
presence.
emotional
When you do this,
attachment.
something
Thinking
chemical
about you
happens.
scares
Her
her.
nervous
It
system
makes her
begins to
vulnerable.
downshift.
And her
Her
defense
breathing
mechanism
slows.
is to
The
create emotional
cortisol, that's
distance
the
while her
stress
mind
hormone,
obsesses
starts
over
to
you
ease.
privately.
And in its
But here's
place,
where it gets
oxytocin
interesting.
begins to
There are
rise.
7
You might have
unmistakable
heard
signs that
oxytocin
expose
called the
this.
bonding
And sign
hormone or
number
the
4,
trust
when you see
hormone.
it, there's
That's
zero doubt
exactly
she's
what it is.
obsessed.
And this
I'll get
spot
to that in
behind
a
the
moment.
neck is one of
First,
the
let me
fastest
show you the
ways to
patterns
trigger
that
it. She
reveal
won't
what's really
necessarily
going on
say
in her head.
anything. She might
The
just go
hidden
quiet.
signs.
She might
What
lean
her
into it
behavior is
slightly.
actually
That
telling
silence
you.
isn't
Before we
emptiness.
go
That's her
deeper,
body
do
saying
one thing for
yes.
me.
The
Hit the
second
like
place is the
button if
soft
this is
skin
already
between the
making you
shoulder
rethink
blades.
someone.
Think of
The
this spot
37
as her
second
shield.
moment. You
It's the
miss
part of her
specific
back
because
she
what's
can't
coming
easily
next is
reach
going to give you
herself. It's
clarity
the
you've
part
never
that
had
carries
before.
invisible
Let's keep
weight.
going.
When a woman is
Sign the
guarded,
mistake
when
that
she's built
pushes her
walls,
away.
consciously or not,
Number
this is
1,
where those
she
walls
watches
live
you
in
when
her
she thinks you're
body.
not
Now, I'm not
looking.
talking
This is
about a deep
huge,
tissue
and most
massage
men never
here. I'm
catch
talking
this
about
because they're
something
too
much
busy trying to
simpler
get her
and much
attention
more
directly.
powerful. Just
Women
placing
are
your hand
observant.
there.
When
Flat,
she's
warm,
genuinely thinking
still,
you.
no
She studies
pressure,
you.
no
Your
agenda.
body language,
When you
who
do
you
that,
talk to,
you're
how
not
you
just
carry
touching her
yourself.
back.
You might
You're
catch her
communicating
glancing your way in a
something that
group
words
setting or
can't
notice her
always
eyes
say,
following
I've
you
got you,
across the
I'm
room. But
here.
here's the
You don't
key.
have to carry
She
this
looks away
alone.
the
I've
second you
seen
make
this
eye
one
contact.
gesture
That
completely
instant
shift
look
the
away,
energy in a
that's not
relationship.
disinterest.
I
That's her
worked with a
caught
couple
in
in
the act.
Toronto,
In the
both in their
digital
early
world,
60
this shows
seconds,
up what to
both
do if she's
retired,
thinking
both
about you
spending all
differently.
day in the
She's
same
viewing your
house, and
stories
somehow
within
feeling
minutes of you
miles apart.
posting.
The
She's
husband, a
liking
guy
old
named
posts from
Robert,
weeks ago.
started
She's
doing this
checking your
one thing
profile
every
when she
evening
thinks
when
you
his
won't
wife was
notice.
standing in
Why
the
does this
kitchen
matter?
after
Because
dinner. He'd
attention
walk
is
up behind
currency.
her and
Where her
rest his
attention
hand
goes
between her
repeatedly,
shoulder
her mind
blades. No
follows. But
words,
here's what
just
most guys don't
presence.
realize.
3 weeks
If she's
later, she
watching
told
you
me,
secretly,
I don't
she's
know what
also
he's doing
imagining
differently,
scenarios
but
with
I
you.
feel like he's actually here
Conversations you
again.
haven't had,
That's clear
situations
as
that don't
throat, the
exist
power
yet.
of this
A
spot.
cool girl
The
defense
third
mechanism,
place is the
that's not
hands,
casual interest,
specifically the
that's
fingers and the
obsession.
palm.
Sign number
Now,
2,
I know
she
what you're
remembers
thinking.
small
Holding
final
hands,
insight
that's the
from
big
female
secret. Hear
psychology
me out.
details you
There's
mentioned
a
weeks
difference
ago.
between
Now
grabbing
this
someone's
one,
hand
this is
and
where you'll
actually
start seeing
holding
the
it.
pattern.
There's a difference
You
between a
casually
quick
mentioned you
squeeze
had a
and tracing your
presentation
thumb
coming up.
slowly
2 weeks
across her
later, she
palm.
asked how
The
it
hands are
went. You
deeply
told her
connected
once
to a
about your
woman's
favorite band.
emotional
She brings
world.
them up
Her
in
hands are
conversation
how
like
she
it's no big
gives, how
deal.
she
You might think,
creates,
okay,
how
she's
she
just being
expresses
nice. She
care.
has
When
good
you hold
memory.
them with
No,
genuine
listen to
attention,
what I'm
she
about to
feels
tell you.
understood in a way
Most
that
people
goes straight to her
forget
heart.
90%
Try
of what
this.
you
Next
tell them
time you're
within
sitting
24
together,
hours. That's
watching
just how
TV,
human
having
memory
coffee,
works. But
doesn't
when someone
matter.
is
Take her
thinking about you
hand, but instead of
constantly,
just holding
they're
it, use your
replaying your
thumb to
conversations.
slowly trace
They're
along her
storing
fingers
details.
one by
They're
one
building a
or draw
mental file
small,
on
slow
you.
circles
And
on her
here's the
palm.
crazy
No
part.
rush, no
She probably doesn't
destination.
even realize she's doing it. Her brain
5:35.
is subconsciously
Research out of
prioritizing
McGill
information
University
about
has
you
shown
over
that
everything
this
else.
type of
If she
slow,
remembers that you
deliberate
don't like
touch on the
olives, that your
hands
sister's name
activates
is
the
Emma, that
same
you
neural
have a
pathways
scar from
as
a childhood
emotional
bike accident you
affirmation.
mentioned once in
In plain
passing,
terms,
she's been
holding her
thinking about
hand
you way more than
thoughtfully
she's letting
communicates
on.
the
But
same
sign
thing
number
as
3
telling
is
her
where
she
things get
matters.
really
You don't
interesting.
have
How
to
to
say
tell
a word.
disinterest
Your
versus
hands
hidden
say it for
feelings.
you.
Sign
The
number
fourth
3. Her
place is
friends
the
know about
small
you and
hollow
they act
just below the
strange around you.
jawline,
Here's a
directly
dead
behind
giveaway,
the
and it's one
ear.
of the
This
most
one
reliable
surprises people
signs.
every
Her
time I
friends
mention
mention
it.
you,
It's
or
not a
when you're
spot
around
most
them,
men ever
they
think
exchange
about.
looks with
It's
her.
subtle.
They
It's
might
easy to
tease her
miss,
subtly
and
or
that's
act like they
exactly
know
why
something
it's
you
so
don't.
powerful.
Maybe
This
they smile
area is
knowingly when you walk
extraordinarily
into a
sensitive,
room.
packed with
Maybe one
nerve
of them
endings,
accidentally
but it's
says
also a
something like,
spot that
"Oh, so
only
you're the
gets
guy
touched
from," and
when
then
there's real
catches herself.
closeness. It
Women talk
requires
to
you
their
to be
friends about the
near
people
her,
occupying their
present,
headspace.
focused on
It's how
her,
they
not on where
process
things are
attraction.
going. When you're
But
sitting
here's what
close
you need to
together and
understand
you
about the
gently
sign.
brush your
If her
fingertips
friends
along
know
this
who you
spot,
are
not with
without you
pressure,
having
just
spent
warmth,
much
you're
time
doing
around
two
them,
things at
that means
once.
you've
You're
been a
triggering a
frequent
physical
topic of
response that
conversation.
sends a wave of
She's
calm
asking
through her
them for
body,
advice
and
about
you're
you.
sending an
She's
emotional
analyzing
signal.
your
I
texts with
notice the
them.
small things
She's
about
telling them
you. I'm
stories
paying
about
attention.
interactions you've
Women
had.
feel this
You're
one
living
differently than
rent-free in her
almost any
mind
other
and in her
touch.
group
It
chat.
doesn't feel aggressive
And
or
when her
demanding. It
friends
feels
start
like being
acting different
truly
around you,
seen.
it's
And
because
truly
they've heard
seen,
enough
that's one
about
of the
you to form
deepest needs a
opinions.
woman has in a
They're
long-term
invested in
relationship.
whatever is
One thing I
happening
always
between
tell
you
the men I
two.
work with, if she
Now,
doesn't
we're
lean into
about
it
to get to sign
immediately,
number
don't
4, and
push.
this is the
This
big
spot
one, the one
requires
that
trust.
confirms
If the trust
everything.
is still
But
being
first, I
rebuilt,
need to
just
tell
be
you about
patient.
something
Over
most
time, as
men
your presence becomes
completely
more consistent,
misinterpret.
she
Sign number
will. The
4,
fifth place
she
is the inner
initiates
thigh
contact
near the knee,
randomly, then
far from
disappears
any
again.
intimate area.
Okay?
Now,
This is
I
the
want to
sign
be
that
really clear
confuses
about this
men the
one because
most,
the
and it's
placement
also
matters
the most powerful
enormously. We're talking
indicator
about
she's
the soft
obsessed with
skin on the
you.
inside of
The
the
subtle
leg, close
behavior
to the
that means
knee,
she's
not
thinking
higher,
about
not
you.
rushing anywhere
Here's what
there. This
happens.
area
She'll
carries a
text
lot
you
of
out of
emotional
nowhere
weight
with
for
something
women,
random,
often
a
without them
meme,
even
a
being
question.
consciously aware of it.
This
A
reminded me of
respectful,
you
unhurried touch
message.
here
Something
communicates
that seems
something
low
very
stakes.
specific.
You respond,
Closeness without
maybe
pressure,
have a decent
desire
conversation.
without
The
demand. The
energy
key
feels
is
good. You
rhythm,
think, okay, maybe
slow,
she is
even,
interested.
like you have
Then she
nowhere to
ghosts
be
again
and
for
nowhere to
days,
go,
maybe
like
even a
this
week,
moment
and
is
you're sitting there
complete in
thinking,
itself.
what
I've
the
had
hell
women
just
tell me
happened?
that this
Did I
kind of
say something
touch, when
wrong?
done with
But here's
patience and
what's actually
respect,
going on in
felt
her
more
head.
intimate
And this
than
is going to
anything
sound
else their
insane,
partner
but
had
it's
done
backed
in
by
years
psychology.
because it said something
She reached out, she
powerful
couldn't
without
stop
saying a
thinking about
word.
you.
I want to be
The
close to
urge to
you.
talk
I'm
to
not
you built
rushing
up
you.
so
I'm
much that
just
she had to
here.
make
That
contact,
message
but
in
the
a
moment she
long-term
did, her fear
relationship,
kicked in.
especially as we
Wait,
get
am I being
older,
too
it can feel
obvious?
like
Is he going
water
to
in a
think I'm
desert.
desperate?
The
Am I
sixth
giving him too
place
much
is the
power?
lower back,
So
that
she pulls
hollow
back.
between the waist
Not
and the
because she lost
hips. The
interest,
lower
but because
back is
she's
the
trying to
physical
maintain
center
control
of a
over her
woman's
own
body.
emotions.
It supports
This is called
everything. It
approach
carries
avoidance
everything.
conflict
And
in
in most
psychology.
relationships, it
She's
goes
drawn to
completely
you, but scared of
untouched.
what that
When you
means.
place your
So she
gently on a
compromises.
woman's lower
Body
back,
language
especially
signs
when
she
you're
can't
standing behind
fake.
her and your
She reaches
chest
out
meets her
just enough
back,
to stay on your
something
radar, but
remarkable
pulls back
happens
before she
neurologically.
reveals
The
too
brain
much.
interprets
And
that
here's the part
position
that
as
proves she's thinking
protection,
about you
as stability,
constantly.
as someone
The time
saying
between
without
her random
words, I'm
messages follows
behind
a
you.
pattern. It's not
Literally and
random at all.
figuratively, this
She
isn't about
reaches out
control,
right when
it's
she
about
thinks you might
containment
be
in the
forgetting
best
about
sense,
her.
the kind that makes
Right?
someone feel safe enough
When the
to let their
silence
guard
has
down.
lasted
I
long
want you to
enough
think
that she
about the last
worries
time
she's
you stood
lost your
close to your partner
attention.
from behind
If
and
she
just
wasn't
rested your
obsessing over
hand on her
you,
lower
she wouldn't
back,
track the
not going
gaps, she wouldn't doesn't
there,
care about
just
staying
there.
present in your
If you
life,
can't remember
but she
the
does
last time
because
you
you're
did that,
always
that's
somewhere
worth
in the back of her
noticing.
mind.
Try
Now,
it
let me
this
show
week,
you the
not as
3
a
remaining
technique,
signs.
as a
In sign
genuine
number
expression
7,
of
it's going to
presence.
reveal exactly
Stand
what you need to do
close.
next.
Place your hand
Sign
there.
number 5,
Breathe.
she gets
Let
slightly
her
different
feel that
around
you're
you
not
compared
in a
to others.
hurry,
Pay
that you're
close
not
attention
trying
to
to
this
get
one because
somewhere,
it's subtle,
that
but
this
it's
just
everywhere
being
once
near
you know
her
what to
is
look
enough
for.
for
With
you
most
right
people,
now.
she's one
The
way, but
seventh
with you,
place is the
something
most
shifts.
surprising
Maybe
one,
she's a
and
little
I'll
more
tell you right
guarded, or
now,
maybe she
it's not
laughs a
what
bit
most
harder
men
at your
expect.
jokes.
It's
Her
not the
voice might
chest,
change
it's
pitch
the lower
slightly when
abdomen,
talking to
the
you.
area
She might
around
touch her
and
hair
just
more,
below the
fidget with her
navel.
phone,
This is
or
the
break
most
eye
emotionally
contact quicker
significant
than normal.
area
But
on a
here's
woman's
what most
body,
guys
and it's the one
miss.
that gets
These aren't
overlooked
just
most
nervous
often.
habits.
Men
Why
either
she
skip
acts
right
normal
past
around
it
others,
or
these
only
are
ever
stress
touch it in a way
responses.
that
And
signals they're
stress in
headed
this
somewhere else.
context
Both
doesn't
of
mean
those
she's
are missed
uncomfortable with you.
opportunities.
It
The
means you
lower
affect her
abdomen
nervous
is where a
system in a
woman
way
holds
others
her
don't.
deepest sense
When
of
someone
self.
genuinely
There's
doesn't
real
care about you,
neuroscience
they're
here. This
completely
area has
neutral.
a dense
Their body
concentration
language is
of vagal nerve
relaxed, their energy
connections,
is
which means
flat.
it's directly
It's the people
wired to
who
the
make
body's
us feel
emotional
something who
regulation
make these
system.
subtle
When this
behavioral
area is
changes.
touched
And if
with
she acts
genuine
more, she
care
acts
and
guarded around you
slowness,
than
it doesn't
others,
just
that's
feel
actually a
physical. It
stronger
feels like
sign
being
than if she
held at the
acted
very
flirty
core
because
of
she's
who she
protecting
is. I
herself.
always
She's
describe it this
building
way
walls
to the
because she
couples I
knows
work
you have the
with.
power to
Imagine you're
affect her.
holding something
People don't build
irreplaceable,
walls
something
around people who
fragile
don't
and
matter.
precious. You wouldn't
Sign
grab
number
it, you
6,
wouldn't
she
rush,
tests
you'd
you and
move
most men
slowly
fail
with both
without even
hands with
realizing it.
complete
This one is
attention.
crucial,
That's how
and
to
most
touch
guys
this place.
completely
A
miss
warm
what's
hand
happening.
placed gently
She'll
and
say
with
something
zero
to gauge your
urgency on her lower
reaction. She might
abdomen.
mention
This
another guy
signals something
casually to
that
see if you
words
get
rarely
jealous.
accomplish.
She'll
I
cancel
trust you
plans to
with
see
all
if
of
you'll
me,
react
and I hope you
emotionally
trust
or stay
me with all of
composed.
you. When a
What to do
woman
when you notice
feels that her
this?
whole
She
body
might go cold
responds, not
suddenly
because
just
of
to watch how
technique,
you
because of
respond.
truth.
Will you
Now,
chase?
let
Will
me
you get
pull all of
angry? Will
this
you stay
together.
calm?
7
Now, here's
places:
what you
the
need
back
to
of the neck,
understand.
the
These
space
aren't
between the
games for
shoulder
the sake of
blades, the
games.
hands,
These
the
are
hollow
unconscious
behind the
tests.
ear,
She's
the
trying to
inner
figure out
thigh
if you're
near the
secure
knee,
enough
the
to
lower
handle her,
back,
if
and
you're
the lower
emotionally
abdomen.
solid,
None of these are
or if you'll
secret, none of
crumble
them are
under pressure.
complicated, but I
When a woman
guarantee
is
that
thinking
most of
about
you
you
are not using
seriously,
them,
she
not
needs to
with
know
the
you're for
intention
real,
and the
and testing is
slowness
how
they
she finds
deserve.
out
And
because you
here's why
just
that
proved you're
matters. As
different from every other
11:05,
guy
we
who's
get
ever
older,
liked
as
her. And
relationships
that
grow
brings us to
longer, a
sign number
strange thing
7,
tends
the
to
one that
happen.
reveals
We stop reaching
exactly
out,
what you
not
should do
because we've
next.
stopped
I know
caring,
this
but
isn't
because the daily
easy.
routine
When
takes
you care
over,
about
because we
someone,
assume our
you want
partner knows,
clarity.
because we're
You want her
tired
to
or
just tell you how
distracted,
she
or we just
feels.
forget
But
that
attraction doesn't work
11:21,
that
the
way,
small gestures
especially
are
not for women
actually
who are
the big
protecting
ones.
themselves from
But
getting
women
hurt.
feel that absence.
So
They
pay
feel it in their
attention,
body
trust the
before they feel it
signs,
in their
and
mind.
most
They
importantly,
wake up
trust
one
yourself
day
enough
and
to not
realize they
force the
feel
outcome.
lonely,
Don't blow
not
it. The
because their
biggest
partner
mistake
isn't
men make,
there,
because the
but
man
because
who
their
can
partner
sit in
stopped touching
uncertainty
them,
without
stopped
crumbling,
noticing them,
that's the man
stopped
every woman is
communicating through
looking
the
for.
language of physical
If this
presence.
video helped you
I
see
think
things
about a man
differently,
I'll call
drop a
David,
comment with the word
67,
aware so I know
retired,
you're
based
paying
out of
attention to
Edmonton.
the real
His
signals.
wife had
And hit
been
that
increasingly
subscribe button
distant for
because we're
about two
going deeper into
years. He
understanding
came to see
attraction
me
in ways
convinced
most people
relationship
never
was
will.
just running out of
Final
steam.
psychology
Maybe this is
takeaway.
just what
The next
happens.
video is going to
I
show you
asked him a simple
exactly how to
question.
turn her
When's the
curiosity
last time
into
you touched
action.
her without
If you
wanting
want to
something in
understand
return?
more about how
He
your
thought
mind
about it
works,
for a long
click the
time.
video on the screen
I
right
can't
now.
remember. He
Thank you for
finally said,
listening.